Nuttall, who joins me here we are at the police cordon as the police investigation continues. What are your thoughts after this attack yesterday?
Well, I think obviously sadness. I think it's an appalling act of terrorism. My heart goes out to the families who've lost loved ones, and I hope for a swift recovery for those who are in hospital as a result of this madness yesterday.
Do you think there need to be changes to security around Westminster or indeed around the country?
Quite possibly at Westminster, considering that all that was needed for this terrorist act to take place yesterday was a Hyundai 4x4 and a couple of kitchen knives. It wasn't as if the guy had a machine gun or anything like that. It was pretty basic, and I think maybe security does need to be improved.
Now, we've heard the Prime Minister saying we are not afraid. MPs have been sitting today, just the day after it happened. Was that an important demonstration of defiance, really, in your view?
Yeah, absolutely defiance, and our democracy will continue. But I have to say, I don't think there's any coincidence that this attack took place a year to the day after the Brussels attacks, which obviously us as European Parliament representatives were involved in. There is a cancer within our community in this country that has to be cut out and has to be dealt with, and whether that is calling on the Muslim community to do more to cut this cancer out, whether it's ensuring that those 800 British citizens who are fighting for ISIS out in Syria and Iraq aren't allowed back in this country, or indeed down the line whether the government goes down the route of banning Saudi funding of mosques, because quite frankly Saudi Arabia spread radicalism around the globe.
The man involved, the attacker, the assailant, is known to have been born in this country. Yep. That's what the Prime Minister said. Had been on the security services radar a while ago, but was now judged to be on the periphery. What do you think are the implications of that?
Well, the questions will then be asked whether the security service should have continued to follow this man. However, he will be described as a lone wolf. What I predict, lone wolves are never really lone wolves. There'll be other people involved in this. There'll be people within the community who knew that this man had been radicalised. It's now time for them to stand up to the plate, give evidence, and indeed those who were involved to be brought to justice.
But we know that the police, we know that MI5 can't track everybody who's ever been on their radar. Obviously, there are limits to their manpower and their resources.
Yes, there are, and the cuts to the police force, I think, are a disgrace. I think they need to be revoked. There shouldn't be any cuts to the security services, because we're living in a dangerous world. It's interesting now that Islamic State have claimed responsibility, especially considering that their press spokesman last year said that if you can't get hold of a machine gun, the way to commit a terror attack is just get hold of a car or just get hold of a knife, and that's exactly what happened here yesterday.
Yeah, and although the Prime Minister said they're not going to raise the terror threat level, it's severe at the moment, it's not going to be raised to critical because they don't think necessarily any other attack is imminent. Is that right?
Well, I'll trust the Prime Minister on this. She was the Home Secretary for a number of years, and she obviously knows things that I don't. However, I will say this. We all expected this to happen at some point. It was never a case of if, it was always a case of when, and as long as we have this cancer within our society of radical Islam, it will always happen. It will happen again. It needs to be sorted out. It needs to be cut out of our society altogether, and I just hope the government start working on this quickly.
But, I mean, you're talking in quite simplistic terms, cutting out a cancer. It's not that easy, surely?
No, it's not that easy, but we need to ensure that the Muslim community itself, who in many cases will know who these people are living amongst them. They need to step up to the plate, and they need to report these people to the police as soon as possible. But equally, the government needs some stringent action here. And as I said, one of the first things I would do is I would ban Saudi funding of mosques in this country.
OK, Paul Nuttall, leader of UKIP, thank you very much indeed for your time.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.